Good morning, everyone. I hope to be with you there this morning, but a difficult experience with the ladder kind of got in the way of that, and so I'm very sore in my upper back. And as I talk to you this morning, I hope this will make some sense and be of help to some people about my gender identity struggle, otherwise officially known as gender dysphoria, dissatisfaction with one's gender. To say the least. I became aware of it around 8 or 10 years old and didn't know what to think about it. It seemed strange to me, and then as months and years went by, I felt even more strange, and I didn't have any sense that I could talk to anyone about it because they would not understand. And in the 1950s, a boy wanting to be a girl was very, very strange, and you would have met with being ostracized or anger, who knows what all. And so I kept quiet and just struggled internally for many years. But it was very hard, and I never understood it. I was like, why do I feel this way? It's so strange. And as I got older and began researching it more, I realized there could be several causes, everything from genetics to prenatal conditions to birth order. I did have an older sister, childhood family dynamics, my personality, etc., etc. So, but no one's really tied that down to anything specific. Although the current culture certainly wants to make it genetic because then you're relieved of any responsibility because you can't help it. It's just what it is. And that is the way it feels, but some things in our life are very deep and yet they're not inborn. So that helped beginning to understand that. And I probably didn't grow up, seems like, very appreciative of myself as a boy. I didn't seem to have a good, strong sense of that at all. And that certainly didn't help any. And Satan is, of course, the author of chaos and confusion. And as the destroyer of God's creation, he loves confusion and failure, and ultimately he loves the death of the sons and daughters of Adam and Eve. The suicide rate, incidentally, is 3 to 4 times higher, from what I've been able to read, than the typical the standard population rates. So it's a very, very difficult thing, and I know I came close to it myself once or twice. Because when you get to be hopeless, what do? You know, and there don't seem to be any answers, and I went to many counselors, and some were more helpful than others, but there's no clear-cut answer. And I finally realized that it was just something I was going to have to deal with. I started hormones, took them for 2 years or a little less, and worked with a psychiatrist and so on. And of course, they're not trying to find out any other issues in your life. They're just trying to help you become female, and so it wasn't really of any help. And after 2 years or a little less, I finally realized that life is pretty similar, not identical, but pretty similar for men and for women, and we all struggle with many, many of the same things. And that I could never be female. I never had a girlhood. I'd always be worried about whether I was passing as a girl, as a woman, and realized that my life would be so much easier if I just remained the way I was born. So I finally got off the hormones, and I'd already lost so much. First marriage, second marriage, homes, jobs because of depression, it was a very, very great deal of loss. And I came close to suicide, but was able, just knowing the Lord, to avoid that. And I knew that the Lord had never given up on me. I didn't feel like I was turning away from Him. I was just trying to find my way through this. And so eventually, and largely through Tricia's help, we're now remarried. She didn't give up on me, and even though it was very tough for her at times, she remained a soulmate and a friend, and that was a huge help to me. Let's see, where am I here? I had read and thought and observed a lot, and I realized eventually that really there's all kinds of men and all kinds of women. If you put them on a gender scale, a few would be very far out in the extremes of the gender stereotypes, male or female, but most would hit closer to the middle with characteristics of each side, and that really somehow I was making way too big a deal out of this. So the Lord was answering my prayers as I read and tried to understand little by little. I realized too that His creation is not just simple black and white. It's much richer and much more complex, and hence the variety of men and women. And that began to give me some open doors to be myself. And so it's taken a while to kind of get back to more normal life. And Tish and I, like I said, probably are remarried, and I'm very, very thankful for that. And it will probably always be there in my life in the background, but it's not short-circuiting my life with constant thinking about it and depression about it and all those things. It's just kind of in the background. I don't know why. I've had this desire or this longing, this sense of identification with femaleness, but it has dropped way to the background, and my life is finally to a stable point, and I'm actually producing some things. It's not completely short-circuiting everything I'm trying to do in my life. So I'm so thankful, and thankful, of course, for those who prayed for me, even though they weren't sure if it was what was going to happen. I hope that this will be of some help to people, whether you're struggling with it or whether you have a family member that is, or a friend. If you have questions, hopefully I'll be back next week. My shoulders will be back a little more to normal. But anyway, I hope this is some help. Thank you.